Breaking news, the president's accounting firm must turn over 8 years worth of his personal and corporate tax returns to the state court. An appeals court made the ruling this morning in New York. Attorneys there are investigating the Trump organization. It's likely this case will go before the Supreme Court.
Where Trump has unfortunately stacked judges in his favor, but let's take this win because it is a big one. The country just took a huge step forward in its ability to see Trump's likely many financial crimes, and more shallowly, how he's probably been lying about how much money he has for years. And Trump's terrified. I mean, listen to this desperate argument that his lawyer made trying to make his case.
The question of whether the president could be prosecuted for shooting someone is actually being discussed in a federal appeals court. During the course of his defense, the president's lawyer, William Consovoy, asserted that the president is immune from prosecution while in office, regardless of the circumstance. Here's the exchange.
Local authorities couldn't investigate. They couldn't do anything about it.
I think once a president is removed from office, any local authority. This is not a permanent immunity.
Well, I'm talking about while in office.
No.
That's the hypo. Nothing could be done. That's your position.
That is correct.
So the appeals court predictably laughed that argument out of the room, as they should have. The arrogance of that argument is quite astounding. That was obviously a reference, by the way, to the time Trump said that he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and get away with it. And the appeals court was not having the explanation given there. On Monday, a unanimous panel of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit held that Trump is not immune from such investigations. The case is Trump v. Vance. Vance arises from Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance's efforts to secure many of Trump's financial documents from Trump's accounting firm, including his tax forms. Vance seeks these documents as part of a fairly broad-reaching criminal investigation that may ultimately implicate Trump himself, but that may also wind up implicating some of Trump's companies or his business associates. The argument that the president is immune to these investigations until he leaves office. That's what they're predicating all of this on. These documents are not related to his time in office. And even so, during the Nixon era, the Supreme Court ruled that Nixon had to turn over his official communications as a part of the ongoing Watergate investigation. So the House is dealing with all of the in-office stuff anyway, so it's not even pertinent. This has to do with his businesses and his numerous alleged crimes that occurred beforehand. Though prior Supreme Court decisions established that the president enjoys absolute immunity from damages liability predicated on his official acts, this case does not involve Trump's conduct in office, nor does it even involve an order that compels the president himself to do anything. The one issue in this case is that Trump's associates and accountants are being relied upon to comply with what the court wants here, and so if they helped cover up some of these crimes, they're gonna not be incentivized to give access to the court. So if they're complicit in any way, they're not going to be eager to be helpful in this investigation, which is why we need a strong ruling from the Supreme Court that just doesn't chip away at Vance's investigatory powers in this instance. And I'm anxious about relying on the conservative Supreme Court on that issue, to say the least. But good news today. And we'll take that good news and run with it for sure. It's few and far between these days.